Well, today was my final number 6 chemo. I ended up having to wait about 6 weeks because of complications with, you guys remember I had that third boob over here from lymphatic fluid building up, and it just kept coming back. We drain it, come back, drain it, come back, drain it. I think we did 5 times, and finally my surgeon, James Anderson, put the drain back in there, and I wore that for another 4 weeks, and it was still draining pretty heavy up until about I don't know, about a week and a half ago, or a week and a half ago, yeah. And we finally felt it was ready to come out, and it came out, and it's got a little bit of a, I don't know if you can see it, a little bit of a pocket right here, but you got to remember I've been butchered pretty, pretty tough. To have your breast removed, they have to really cut into your chest. I mean, it's not pretty, and it's not easy, and I'm okay with my scars. I know he got the cancer out. I know he saved my tattoo. I've had that since I was 23 years old, and he was pretty proud of that, and I was too. I said, "Oh, thank you, Dr. Anderson. You saved my butterflies," and that was represent. Well, to be honest, to represent my second husband, Henry Sparger, and me and James, and that we would always, be together as a family. And we did. We remained that way up until about 3 years before he died this last year, when he met Kathy Bibles. She was just too jealous of mine and Henry's friendship that we remained friends after we had divorced some 20 years ago. But Henry had saw my son as his boy. He raised him. And we remained friends, and Henry even worked for me and my new husband on my home out here. We replaced all 13 windows. We put tile down. We did a lot of repairs, and I paid Henry for his work, and my husband didn't seem to mind. He knew that there was nothing funny going on, and he trusted me, and he trusted and liked Henry. So Henry worked for us up until he took up with Kathy, and she just became too jealous and controlling and overpowering, that he had to choose between a friendship of say 28 years and a new girlfriend, and he evidently chose wrong, because Kathy pretty much let him die. She didn't really do much but sign him up for free money so that she could take his money, and that's another story altogether. But anyway, today was my last chemo, and I went around the room, and I was surprised to see my husband's uncle and aunt there. I had no idea that Charlie was fighting lung cancer again, and I guess he had been fighting it since about 2016, but he's 88 years old, and the only thing he told me was if he could go back and change anything, it would be him not smoking. And it weighs heavy on my mind too, because I'm a smoker still, and I fought my breast cancer. We did all the scans. We did an echocardiogram on my heart. It's good. My liver was good. And Dr. Anderson shared with me a very, very good plan on how to take care of a fatty liver. Now, fatty livers happen for several reasons. Mine was autoimmune disease and high cholesterol and drinking that caused a fatty liver. So what he told me to do, if I would give up white stuff, bread, pasta, dairy products, refined foods, carbohydrates for a month, we could take care of the fatty liver. So I intend to start that now that I'm done with chemo. I can get back on because I did really good. My main doctor, Jane Fleming, she's a physician's assistant with Dr. Lawrence's office here in Casper. Very highly intelligent woman. I've had nothing but intelligent women surrounding me all through my battle. And from Susie McMurray to Dr. Flippin at Wyoming Oncology, Laura over in infectious disease, Jane, Dr. Lawrence's office, and I'm going to see a back specialist. Her name is Dr. Kim, and I've gotten several really good comments about her through friends who have had their backs worked on. See, my back, I knew a lot of my problem, the reason I couldn't finish my chemo for about 6 weeks, is my feet were swelling up really, really bad. And they were burning, and just, I mean, the most painful thing you ever saw. And everybody, including myself, thought it was the diabetes, because I have type 2 diabetes. But I've lost 35 pounds already. I went from 252 when I was first diagnosed to 218 when I stepped on the scale today. So from January to August 2nd, 2018, I've lost 35 pounds. I feel better. My sugar levels, they range about 168. If I was on the, it should be upped a little bit more, but it's nothing to write home about. I mean, it's not 200. And normally I run about, what was it, 136 and 127 when I was taking the metformin. But I'd always suspected that the metformin that I was on, diabetic drug that I took, 500 in the morning, 500 at night, and 1,000 milligrams, is about the same time my feet started blowing up. So I kind of wondered for about the last year and a half if that didn't have something to do with it. So through the process of elimination, we started about 6 weeks ago to try to figure out what's going on with my feet. Everybody kept saying it was diabetic. It was diabetic neuropathy. I just couldn't buy that because my sugar levels were not anywhere near that kind of thing. And I also thought maybe it had something to do with change of life, because I had had a hysterectomy 2 years ago, almost to the day of when I started, when I discovered cancer. And like I told you guys before, I discovered cancer because my cat, Sissy over here, I don't know if you can see her. Say hi, everybody. Say hi, everybody. I saved my mama's life. Give her a good old look. Say hi. Hi. I saved my mama's life. And you know what she would do? Every day for about the last year and a half. I never even thought about it until I was in Casper Medical Imaging. That's where I get all my, or just about everything that I've had tested done. The ladies over there are just great. We have some really good facilities here in Casper, but you have to be an active participant in your health care. That's essential, guys. I mean, you've got to ask questions. If you don't understand something, make them explain it to you. And draw you a picture. And when they change medications or give you a new medication, and they name off, say, for example, metformin, my first question is, what does it do? And the nurse or the doctor or, you know, the surgeon or whatever will say, well, it controls your blood sugar. So I automatically know, okay, metformin is for my sugar. That's something I can connect to. And if I don't remember, I know I can ask that question again and again and again until my chemo brain remembers it. Because I think everybody knows that chemo brain gives you really bad memory problems short term. The month and a half that I wasn't taking any chemo, my memory started, you know, rolling again. and so did my hair. Look, I don't know if I'm going to be a blonde or a brunette, but whatever it is, I hope it's curly again like it was before it was gone. I'll post a picture of my face. I think you guys all know what I look like. How I'm one of those flunkies that always attends these county commissioner meetings and city council meetings and give our reps hell over not doing the people right. So I'm a born activist for property rights, and I think I've told you in many of my videos that I fought the county and won. So anyway, when you go to the doctor and you're getting any kind of new medication or you've got some kind of symptoms going on, start the process of elimination. That's what I did. Okay, the first thing I thought was, okay, we've got to figure out if it's my sugar levels. So, well, actually, let's go back a little bit. I started out thinking that because the left leg was a little more swollen than the right leg, that it could be heart problems. So I asked my doctor to refer me to a cardiologist, and we did an echocardiogram. And I watched my heart beating on a screen. There's nothing like it. You learn to love your heart. And there she was, flopping, 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 skip. Flopping, 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 skip. But I've had a heart murmur for a long time. I have a mitral valve prolapse, they call it. No stenosis, though. I haven't read any stenosis in the reports. That's about the third one I've had so far through the years. And my heart's in still pretty good shape. It's a little enlarged. That's probably from all the years of having high blood pressure, and maybe drinking and smoking didn't help it much either. But anyway, back to questioning your doctors and being an active participant in your medical treatment. Okay, always ask what the medication is and what it's for. Okay, so we started with my heart. Well, my heart works good enough that it's not causing the swelling. They did, I think they called it a Doppler. They measured the blood pressure in this arm and this leg, and it was 158. They measured it in this arm and this leg, and it was 156. They put ultrasound on the tops of my feet to make sure my feet were getting pulse, because I've had my toes being numb for, God, over a year, over 2 years. And I've always said it's been my back, because my back has been in bad shape for about 6 years. Well, longer than that, probably 10 years, because Henry was working on our windows when I couldn't barely even walk down the hall. But we didn't have any health insurance. Obamacare was not around yet, thank God. And the insurance in Wyoming was just strictly Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And I'm going to tell you something about my Blue Cross and Blue Shield in Wyoming here in a little bit. And this is going to be a long video because this is the last one for my chemo. And this is what I've learned through my journey. Okay, so we checked my heart and my pulse in my legs and circulatory. We did ultrasound on my blood, my veins. No clots, so no swelling from clots. We did an ultrasound on my lungs. My lungs are good. I'm getting about 97% oxygen, even as a smoker. In fact, some of the doctors are amazed that my lungs are in such good shape for being a smoker. So it's not my lungs. We did kidney ultrasound. Kidneys are working, functioning fine. We did my liver. It's a little bit on the fatty side, but it's nothing to write home about. And I can start working on defatting my liver. We did, oh God, I think we did every test possible to figure out if there was something circulatory or diabetic or heart related or kidney related to why my legs were swelling, my feet were swelling and burning like they were on fire. I thought I was going through menopause, because that's part of, you know, that's a symptom of menopause. But today we got the answers we wanted. we found out when we did the micro or MRI day before yesterday, Monday. I went to Casper Medical Imaging at the hospital there. They have this machine that does it. And it was about 35 minutes in the machine. And they did my entire lower back. And when I was coming out of the machine, the girls were just great. They were like, oh, can we help you up? Can we help you up? They saw what was wrong, and they know they can't tell me. But I could just tell by the way they were treating me that, uh-oh, yep, there's something wrong with the lower back. Well, it turns out, I told the gals there, I said, send it on to all 4 of my doctors, Anderson, Fleming, Anderson, Flappin. God, hold on a minute, my mind is, I'm tired. I just got done with chemo like 5 hours ago, and I'm getting ready to go into chemo brain, and then about 10 days I'll have nosebleeds and diarrhea and all of the horrible symptoms that come from, you know, poisoning your body. But I have to complete the entire 6 rounds, and I want to get my back worked on, so I've got to get this moving along. I've got 33 radiation treatments I still have to take, and I have to beat the clock because in December my insurance will require me to start over on my deductible of $6,500. And frankly, I want to get all this covered under this one and not have to pay another $6,000 up front to get something done. So we're running against the clock on this, and hopefully the cancer will stay away forever, or at least as long enough for me to get my back fixed, and then I can fight it again if I have to, but I'll be on better ground to do so. So anyway, when you're talking to your doctors, make sure you're active in asking questions, concerns. You know what I did? I started, because I'm such a chemo brain, I started recording them. You know, what I keep this in my truck, or I take it with me everywhere I go in my purse, and it's just a little pocket recorder. And it's like when I go to see any of my doctors, I turn it on and I record what we talked about in that session. Then I take it home and I analyze it, and I write my list of questions that I forgot to ask the doctor when I was there. It has been tremendous help. And I don't disseminate doctor's advice online. This is just for my personal use, so that I can help me, help them, help me. So that's one thing. 2, make your notes, and then the next time you go to the doctor's, ask your questions, and keep asking until you get the answers that, you know, satisfy your mind and your treatment, how things are going to go for your treatments, whether it's be for cancer or for back surgery or heart surgery or whatever. So there. Secondly, I'm dying of thirst. I was so dehydrated the last couple of days. My feet have hurt so bad that, you know, I was afraid to eat anything that would cause my feet to burn. And it seems like salt is one of them right now, because it makes you hold water. And when water expands in your lower extremities, like in your feet and ankles, it like almost splits your skin, and it's on fire and red. Hell, I even lost most of my toenails from the chemo drugs, and I didn't even know I lost some of those toenails because my toes were so numb. And that's why we have to get my back fixed. That's part of the problem, and that is what is causing to me, and it has been this. And I'm not a doctor, but you know, everything and all the tests and everything we've done to eliminate everything from medications, changing medications to ultrasounds and echoes and all of that leads right back to one thing. My L4 and L5 lumbar have collapsed, and they are now pinching the nerves that go to my sciatic nerves down my leg to my feet. And to me, I'm 100% sure that that's why my feet hurt. We changed my metformin about 8 days ago, and I got on Januvia. You know, my sugar level was like 165 after 10 days of being on that. And but I haven't had the swelling that I had. The swelling's almost gone in my feet and my ankles. It's still there, but it's minute. So to me, I don't know, the diabetes drug I was on, metformin, seems to be kind of the culprit of the swelling down there. I got on some good water pills too that I got from infectious disease. Laura over there, I kept calling her Lori. Lori, you should have corrected me. If your name is Laura, tell me so, lady. I love you to death, and I enjoy coming and seeing you. So the next time I'm in there, which is tomorrow morning, please tell me your name is Laura, and I'll stop calling you Lori. I want to send a message to Natrona County commissioners right now, not to change the subject. I want you to fund infectious disease better. I want you to give them a chunk of money instead of giving it to Wyoming Medical Center. Wyoming Medical Center is getting their money from my insurance company, and they're getting a bunch. You know, they're getting like $100,000 out of me. So I'm sure we can find some money for infectious disease in Rocky Mountain Oncology. The girls over at infectious disease, do you know what they do? Everything. They give us antibiotics when we're sick. Intravenous antibiotics. They're the only place that you can get this done in Casper. And it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to do. From what I read in their stuff, it's like a sliding scale fee. And low income gets low prices. I happen to have pretty good insurance. I'm not real happy with them right now, and I'm going to tell you about that here in a little bit. Anyway, I really, really would love if people would donate money to infectious disease or get them a bigger budget because they help people who are diabetic and have awful sores on their feet, infections in their elbows, and it's mostly older folks and some of the young disabled people. And they do tremendous work. The doctors, Dr. David and Dr. Laura, I love you. And the nurses are just so, so compassionate. And they deserve money. And they deserve support from this community. The ladies at Rocky Mountain Oncology, the nurses up there, Carolyn and, oh my God, they're just, my brain is just going foggy, so I can't name them all right now. But every nurse that works in that cancer facility is a godsend. My nurse, Jonna, she has a disease of her own. She's very private about it, so I won't go into it. But she fights for us too, while she's dealing with hers. And I have to give her a great applause. She is one strong woman. So, and also Susie McMurray. Thank you, Susan. She gave me my first wig and my first set of fake boobies. And I love her for it. And I cannot in the world think why anyone would attack Susan McMurray. She is a godsend. And if she ever did anything evil in her life, God has forgiven her a long time ago. Because I know Casper can be cruel to after what happened out there. And she holds her head up high, and I'm proud of her for that. I hope those records are never unsealed. It's none of nobody's business. Okay, so you're going to ask your doctor. You're going to try to, either record or take someone with you, because the first time somebody says cancer, your ears close. You don't hear a single word afterwards. Trust me. I had to ask Donnie Ray 11 times, what did Dr. Anderson say? Because the minute he said, yes, Judy, you have breast cancer, my brain went to outer space. Okay, let me talk a little bit about this to Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Wyoming. It's the only insurance we can buy, thanks to Obama and his bumbling interfering in the insurance market. There are three things the government does not need to be in the business of: insurance, healthcare, and policies for property owners. Actually, I can name about 20. Sorry, I misled you there. But the government should not be in the business of our healthcare. We've been dealing with it for the last, 100 years on our own. I do like the fact that we can now at least buy across state lines. Put the insurance back in the private sector. I'm going to make a few rules about pre-existing things. I'm all for it. But other than that, the government needs to step off on it. You're never going to solve it. And making a single-payer system like Venezuela, and then it's going to bankrupt the economy. We know it. You know it. I don't know why the Democrats and crazy Bernie pushes it. These people are nuts. Socialized medicine. They're socialists. Democrats have turned socialist. They're no longer the JFK party. They have gone into dictatorship. And that's all I can say. Just watch them. I mean, just listen to what they're saying. They're saying they want to take your tax cuts back. They want to take and run the healthcare system. They've almost bankrupted Medicaid and Medicare, stealing the money from it to prop up Obama's free education shit for illegals. Come on now. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject. Let's get back to health. Okay, so we're going to ask our doctors questions on what the meds are, what they do. We're going to watch for changes in our bodies. If swelling starts or you get allergic reactions, stop using it. Contact your doctor or your nurse immediately. Go to the hospital if it's to the point where it's cutting off your breathing or causing your heart to act funny. Think. Be involved in your healthcare. Another thing I learned. When you first get your chemo, you're going to feel kind of sleepy and tired, but then it's going to get bad. Don't let nobody mistake you. They all say everybody takes it differently. Some don't take it so bad. I didn't get bad till about the third and fourth chemo. The first two, the first one wasn't that bad at all. I was just really tired. I got instant diarrhea. I didn't feel good, but I didn't throw up, and I didn't, come off too bad. I did have a lot of rashes because of the dosages, so watch for rashes. That's another telltale sign that you're getting too much of the chemo. I lost pretty much all of my fingernails, but I didn't peel them off until after new nails had grown underneath, so they're still kind of messed up, if you can see. And they're going to be that way for, God, probably another year. I used to have really long, beautiful nails, and they were strong, but these just peel like dried. My toenails crack like glass. That's from the Texateer, and when my hair fell out, that was part of it too. So anyway, with that, let's move on to a little bit more. I don't know what else to tell you except for if you start having really bad effects, you may not know that you do have an infection somewhere in your body. Here's something that happened to me. In February, when I went to Wyoming Medical Center to do the pathology on the 2 lymph nodes or the 4 lymph nodes under my arms and on the breast, I had a really nice doctor. I had really good nurses. But something about the procedure wasn't clean. And it left me with a staph infection under my arm. And I didn't know it. I mean, I didn't run a fever. I know my heart rate was messed up. I know I was having constant diarrhea. I know that food didn't taste right. I was tired. I was sleepy. but I thought that was all chemo. And then in June, when after my feet started blowing up, and Laura over at in infectious disease, and my regular doctor Jane Fleming and Rocky Mountain Oncology's Flappin, they all concurred. They thought I had an infection somewhere in my body. And since Anderson was going in to put that drain back in, because I was developing, like I said, you know, that third boob under my arm. See that? See that? That's where it was up here. And it was huge. I mean, it was like a goose egg. And to compare that, you have to look at the other one. See, that's pretty all, that's kind of just all sewed up and soft. But it didn't have lymph nodes pulled out of it. So it healed quickly and normally. This one has been the problem child. I love Dr. Anderson. He says one time, uh-oh, the problem child is here. And he didn't think I heard him. So he comes in the room and I said, so I'm the problem child. He goes, you heard me? I said, yes, but you know what? You're right. I told you when we started up this relationship years ago, when you saved my life with my appendix bursting, that if there was something odd, it was going to be me. You know, that if something odd came up, that's the way my life works. I always have the weird stuff. I ended up with weird Graves' disease. And I had to have my thyroid taken out because the iodine was being absorbed at like 90%. And I was so hyperthyroid that my heart kept going out of sync. You know, it kept, I was up to like 220 beats one time. I had to be shocked back into rhythm like 5 different times at Wyoming Medical Center. Patoon with the paddles. And I'd wake up and I'd go, whoosh. You'd almost see the smoke coming off my body from it. Now there's an experience. Get paddled. But anyway, when he came in, he goes, you know, when I put that drain back in you, Jude, there was this little white spot. And I poked it with my, you know, with his glove on. He poked it, and it just oozed out all this pus from where I had had the pathology done 5 months earlier. So bingo, I'd been carrying around a staph infection for 5 months, but yet it didn't show up in any of the the lymphatic fluid that was, you know, was being drained out. We've had it tested several times. There was no sign of infection in it. This infection was localized, and it was actually staying in just that area, but eventually it was going to burst out into my body and cause a big problem. And that's kind of what we thought with my feet, that maybe this staph infection had gone to my feet somehow through the bloodstream. And that's why they had me on, you know, Laura over an infectious disease had put me on, God, it had to be 30 days worth of antibiotics, 2 different kinds. And one kind I even had, this was like the mega antibiotic. It's a ball. And it plugs into my port. They access my port. And then I take these 7 balls home. And it had clamps on it, you know. First I had to flush it. Then I had to put the medication, let the medication run, which was about 35 minutes a day, for 10 days out of this little yellow ball that I could do in the privacy of my home. And then after I take the medication ball out, I have to flush it again. And then I had to use one more Herceptin or her, oh, I can't remember what it's called. But it cleans the port. The saline one cleans the port, and then the other one was like the, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what it does, but it was part of the process. So I had to do that every day for 10 days. And then I was on oral antibiotics for another 10 days. And then I was on another antibiotic for another 10 days of a different strain of staph. Okay, so I spent 30 days on medications, strictly dealing with streptococcus, cellulitis. We even thought it was cellulitis. There's another real winner. Whoa. But at any rate, between Anderson and Rocky Mountain Infectious Disease, and my Dr. Flippin and my Dr. Jane Fleming, we finally figured out we got all the infections. Okay, so now I'm good to go. But I just had my last chemo today, so I am now at risk of catching anything that comes along again for about the next 20 days. So what this means again is I got 20 days that I can't be around people who are sick. I'll probably have to avoid grocery store shopping cart handles, bathrooms, children's colds, flus, because you can catch anything. I'll have to protect my body against punctures, my cat boxes. Remember that you cannot empty your cat boxes. Do not scrape your cat's poop out of the box. Pay someone. Do not let your cats lick you. I got infections because my cat liked to lick me on my skin. Okay, and remember I was telling you, Sissy, I showed you my cat. She would lay up here on the desk with me every day for as many hours as I'm in front of the computer. And she kept sticking her face in my arm, sticking her face in my arm, rubbing it, kneading it. And I was getting an ultrasound done at Casper Medical Imaging on, my leg. Because this was the beginning of trying to figure out why my legs and feet were swelling and hurting. So I had made an appointment through my regular care doctor, Jane Fleming, to get me an ultrasound on the veins in my legs. Because I wanted to know if maybe there was a blood clot. That was my first thought. And when I was there and they were doing that, one of the gals reminded me that Jane had sent over a mammogram request as well. And since I was there, I may as well do it. And I thought, you know, with the cat licking me and doing all that under my arm, and it's been a couple years, I don't feel good. I've been sluggish for a while. You know, my back hurts. Why not? What the hell? We may as well check. And here's something really funny. I always had a fibroid breast over here. This one was always soft and gushy. You know how boobs are. This one was always hard in places. And exactly where it was hard turns out to be the cancer. I had had it looked at 2 years earlier in a mammogram, but they saw no cancer. So it developed over the last 2 years, and I had had a hysterectomy during those 2 years. But I left my ovaries in. And my stage 2 cancer was, excuse me, fed by what? Ovaries. Yes, my ovaries worked against me. And so does it do that in like 89% of the population of women who come up bring breast cancer. Too much estrogen. Estrogen fed, they'll say. Okay, so anyway, I'm there. And I tell her, okay, you know, yeah, let's just do it while I'm here. You got the insurance card in hand, and got a little time on your hand. And they were really good. They're really good. Everybody I've seen has been really good about right now appointment. You know, oh, we better do it right now, dude. While we got you here, while we got the cards, while we got the approvals. And that was one good thing about Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Wyoming. I didn't have to get hardly none prior approvals for anything I've done. Not for medications I get, not for procedures I got, not for my chemo, not for anything. But if you're under Obamacare, all of that shit had to be approved, pre-approved. That's where you guys got messed over when you signed up on that Obamacare crap. You just basically put yourself in line for someone else to decide what health care you get and what you don't get. That's why it's very important that insurance reverts back to the private sector, so you can shop around for the best deal for your family. And Democrats don't want to do that because they think one size fits all. And in the meanwhile, they got millions of dollars. They're never going to get turned down for medication or a procedure. They're millionaires. They can pay for it. But you're not a millionaire. And if you're stuck on their Obamacare, you're not that important to them. or they'd let you shop in the open market and buy something that doesn't need prior approval. You could die in the meantime of trying to get something approved through Obamacare. Okay? Not that way with my Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They let me do everything. The only problem I've had with Blue Cross and Blue Shield is because of the crazy law on this opioid epidemic. Okay, now I'm going to get serious here on this. Epidemic. Opioid. Narcotics Anonymous. Do you know what that is? Narcotics Anonymous encompasses meth, marijuana, pot, or should I say meth, marijuana, heroin, pot, opioids, Tide Pods. If you've got a addiction, there are already great programs out there. You got NA, AA, you got Gamblers Anonymous, Sexaholics Anonymous. There's an Anonymous for anything of the human condition. We didn't need to stop our doctors from issuing opioids for pain. Granted, some were abusing it, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a damn cancer patient. I'm not a drug seeker. Every time I go to the doctor asks me the rate of my pain. And you know what I tell him 10 days after a chemo? It's 25. Tylenol is not going to get it. Advil is not going to get it. I want drugs. They're developed, they work, and I want them. The only problem I'm having right now is that since this law and this fake opioid problem has taken center stage and forgotten all about the original addicts programs, NA. If you want to stop doing a drug, you know the 12 steps you must take. I am not your mother. I am not your father. And it's not my job to stop you from using drugs. That's your job. You have to be the adult and take care of your health care. But consigning us who really, really need our medications during our pain from such things as chemo, car wrecks, back injuries, things like that, denying us the drugs that we know to work on pain is outrageous. It's abuse. And just because there are a few, who knows, a few, maybe more, of inappropriately issued drugs to drug seekers, don't blame us. Don't blame the ones who actually know how to use our drugs, that know what they're for, that know you can't use them long term. Use them sparingly. Use them only in extreme measures. We are competent adults, and our doctors are competent. I would beg President Trump to shit can this opioid money. Give it to NA, give it to AA, give it to the original creators of dealing with your drug and alcohol programs. They are non-government, how do I want to say this? They are not government controlled. They are controlled by actual former addicts and drunks, and they know what they're doing. My sponsor who got me sober was sponsored by someone who got him sober, who was sponsored by someone who got him sobered. We are addicts helping addicts. We are alcoholics helping alcoholics. I don't need some government board telling me how to deal with my addiction. I'm a perfectly capable human being of deciding that on my own. Okay, enough about the preaching. But, like I said, you have to be involved in your treatment. You have to be involved in your decision making, and you have to be accountable for the medications that you're taking, the side effects of them. If they're not working, write it down. Tell your doctor. Some of these side effects of some drugs are worse than the actual disease. I mean, look at television sometimes. My God. Take this drug. Side effects may include XXXX, diarrhea, death, stroke, blood cancers, lipomas. It's pretty scary out there. So we need to let the new drugs that are coming on the market that are being tested get fully tested, but vetted well and released. If they work, they should be available to us. If you need a disclaimer from us to try these new treatments that are coming in from all over the world, like Germany, 13 new types of treatment for 13 cancers. Or how do I want to say that? Germany figured out 13 cures or 13 cancers that can be cured now. Why isn't the United States allowing us to do this? You know, you got Big Pharma owns a lot of our congressmen, owns a lot of our House reps. Just ask Cory Booker. He doesn't want PAC money, but he sure likes drug money, don't he? So does Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters. Maxine likes Russia money, too. Anyway, yep, so get involved. Stay attentive with your doctors, what's going on. And I'm celebrating. I'm thrilled. I feel good. And I'm hoping like hell I beat stage 2 breast cancer. The next one to deal with is going to be this radiation. I hear, from what I understand, they're going to radiate from about here, which are lymph nodes up in here, all the way down to the lymph nodes that are also, you have lymph nodes in the middle of your chest. So it's going to work kind of like this. Oops, I have to do this opposite. I'll get radiation all through here. And it burns the skin. The side effects are going to be, I'll be really, really tired, which is nothing new. Chemo just kicks your ass where you're down. I was down 10 and 12 days after, because I was already predispositioned with an autoimmune disease. So I couldn't fight back much with nothing. But anyway, that'll be 33 days straight. And right after that, I want to get my back fixed. So I want to be in the hospital by November 1st getting back surgery. So that January 1st, when I ring in 2019 and 20 years of marriage to my loving husband who's been supportive, and go out and look at my new motorcycle that I didn't get to ride this year, but I will get to ride come next spring, and smile and thank my Lord Jesus and my good friends for standing by me. Don't forget, oh, another thing you guys got to remember is you can't do this alone. Rocky Mountain Oncology has angels. If you need somebody to come out and help you do laundry or cook a few meals for you or get you in and out of the tub, they do that. We have some really good home health care workers in this state. Just vet them. Vet people you don't know. But through the angels, you're good to go. 100% trustworthy. Susie McMurray is part of that, and I've seen them in action. They offered to help me, but I was lucky enough to have my daughter-in-law, my son's wife, help me. Tremendous. My friend Donnie Ray helped me. My friend Daniel helped me. Matt, Carol, and you, my friends on the internet.